Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly if we scream no. This is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who'll never let go. Just watch us roll till we're no one knows. We'll never grow.
Formula 1 returns to Australia for the first round of the 2017 season, and there's a real buzz of anticipation all throughout the paddock as everyone now finally gets to see the true performances of the new 2017 cars out on track for the first time. Ferrari looked to be the early pace setters, Sebastian Vettel topping the timesheets in practice 1 and practice 2, and his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne would top the timesheets in practice 3. With a shaky start to the season for the Cosworth-powered Sauber team, as Adrian Sutter only managed a best of 17th fastest, beating only his teammate Giovinazzi and both of the McLaren Hondas. There's also a shaky start to the season for the other Cosworth-powered team Red Bull, as Daniel Kvyat suffered turbo failure after only 10 laps in FP1. Taking a look at the qualifying grid for the Australian Grand Prix, and it'll be Fernando Alonso taking pole position, 2 tenths clear of Sebastian Vettel, who lines up in second. Then come the new teammates at Mercedes and Ferrari, with Pascal Wehrlein out qualifying Jean-Eric Vergne at the first time of asking. It'll be an all Red Bull row 3, with Daniel Kvyat and Max Verstappen lining up in 5th and 6th, however both drivers over a second slower than Jean-Eric Vergne. It'll be an all-Williams 4th row, with Sebastian Buemi out-qualifying defending world champion Josh Chero. Lewis Hamilton lines up in 9th on Toyota's return to Formula 1, and Robbie Kubica rounds off the top 10 for Haas on his return to Formula 1. Nico Hülkenberg started just outside the top 10 from 11th, and Esteban Ocon could only manage 12th on the grid. Then come the two Toro Rossos of Pierre Gasly ahead of Carlos Sainz, with Lawrence Stroll in 15th and the second of the Hasses, Daniel Ricciardo only managing 16th on the grid, with Harry Anto in 17th as the lead of the McLarens, with his teammate Carmen Jorda on her return to F1 only managing 18th on the grid. And rounding off the back row of the grid is the two Saubers, with Adrian Sutter in 19th and Giovinazzi in 20th. Hey guys, Tara here. Welcome back to UniONE. This time round 1 for season 4, the Australian Grand Prix. If you did miss pre-season testing, definitely do go and check that out before watching this video. Pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this season, all the car performances, obviously all the drivers. Now looking to this race, starting from P8, you've seen the Williams is pretty much in a world of its own so far. Behind these two cars, the Red Bulls, and can they be a threat in the rain? The rain with their good aero, usually to see them, but their Cosworth power unit doesn't look to be quite up to scratch yet. Also, what about the Toyotas also on their return to Formula 1? Could they be a dark horse in the race? We know that they have an intent of making their presence known, signing Lewis Hamilton, and with their relatively high downforce car design, they could be a threat in the race. Now come back onto us, we're starting from P8, behind our teammate Buemi, and just in front there of Lewis Hamilton in the Toyota, so not ideally where we'd want to be, which pretty much where this Williams is at so far, only 7th and 8th best, but ideally I would prefer to be in 7th instead of Buemi, but first race this season you can't really draw any conclusions yet. I mean, Australia isn't my strongest of tracks anyway. Now coming to the 5 red lights, the start of the Australian Grand Prix. Lights out, and away we go for the start of the 2017 season. We get a pretty terrible start actually, much like we did back in the Lotus and Manor days. It's going to go 3 wide to the same stage, and one of the Ferraris go down into turn 1. It's going to be 3 wide with them, just almost to get round. Now we're going side by side now with Lewis Hamilton. He's got a pretty good run there. One of the Red Bulls gets slowed down, which means you have to stand on the brakes. We don't hit into back of them. That might actually allow Lewis Hamilton now to try and get in front of us. As we all just steam our way down now into turn 3. Hopefully everyone's got through that contact through turn 1. They're trying to pull to the inside there of Lewis Hamilton, just a bit too far back. Now we've got the Haas there, Robbie Kubica trying to go right round our outside. We just managed to hold him off. Now we've got Wayne looking at the inside there of one of the Red Bulls, but I think the Red Bull is just going to hold on there around the outside line. He's obviously with its superior downforce and chassis over what the Williams has so far. So Wayne there has to slot back down into P7. We get very close there to the back there of Lewis Hamilton, because we're looking for a way around the back of the Toyota, because of course the Toyota's first race back in Formula 1. We don't exactly know how their car design works. I mean, you know, like with the Red Bulls and McLaren, you know, they have good chassis and aero. But Toyota does look to have pretty good aero, but I don't know how the chassis and everything's on it, seeing it's just their return to Formula 1. Assuming it's still basically the what was previously Force India from last season, and given how terrible their car was, that Toyota team have really done a lot of good work over the winter to get that car now up into, well, with Hamilton in the top 10 and Ocon just outside the top 10, so pretty much the 5th, 6th best car on the grid for what it's looking so far after pre-season testing, and currently in this first race. And they're coming around now to the final sector, keeping a pretty relative gap there to Hamilton. Of course, Hamilton with that your new AMG engine is still just down on power from what the BMW engine is in the back of our Williams, but still, so far it's pretty much a minor difference. And now looking back up front, we've got Pascal Wehrlein in his debut race for Mercedes, trying to catch down his teammate Fernando Alonso, just running away into distance now, and Wehrlein actually up into second, so not being the best start there for the Ferraris. Now dropped down to 3rd and 4th, seeming that both Ferraris started setting the pace in practice. Actually got Daniel Kvyat there ahead of one of the Ferraris, so great start there for Daniel Kvyat. Actually looks to be pulling away there from the Ferraris. So the Ferraris got some sort of mechanical issues, possibly, seeming that Kvyat was pretty much over a second slower than both of the Ferraris in qualifying. As Hamilton looks still there in front of us now, trying to go right around the outside now. Lewis Hamilton trying to keep it side by side there with the 2008 World Champion. We just haven't got the downforce there to hold it around the outside. And Hamilton managed to get back in front, but now so we've got a bit of a gap there now to Sebastian Buemi in front. Now starting to hold up a bit of a queue of cars there. Now as we go purple there through the first sector, but of course it is only lap 2 of the race, so pretty much everyone will be going purple through the first sector anyway. That's like Hamilton there on the traction, and just managed to pull away from us once again. This Williams seems to be just lacking a little bit of rear downforce for our liking. We get a bit sideways there over the curbing. That's definitely not what we want to do in the rain. And actually now, if you got Robbie Kubica now, my fancy move on us. Kubica on his return to Formula 1. Many expecting him to be in a Williams seat sooner rather than later. And if it looks like this, hopefully he's not taking our seat if he is to replace one of us at Williams in the future. To get purple there through the second sector, which is interesting, seeming all the other cars have now gone through the second sector, so you'd think that they go faster than what we did. But Kubica is all over the back of us so far. Of course, me and Kubica with the exact same BMW power units in our cars, so in a straight line, there's no advantage or disadvantage between us. Now cutting a bit further on, Sebastian Buemi is now right on the back there of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. And that's just going to be BMW power, because with power in a straight line. Buemi's getting a great solution. That's going to pull 2 of the inside there of Max Verstappen. Now coming down into turn 3, can Buemi make the move there? Or the inside Verstappen's going to try and hold it right around the outside. Side by side, Buemi's just got his nose in front, now to try to hold it now around the outside. Much like Verstappen did to him back on lap 1. Buemi managed to make the sweep around the outside, does he? Yeah, Buemi managed to make the move there, right around the outside there of Max Verstappen. Buemi really just literally showing us up in this fight. I see Max Verstappen there actually trying to lose a bit of ground there to Sebastian Buemi already. So has Verstappen got a car issue? You think, said in the rain, you think this would be conditions where the Red Bulls excel, seeing Kvyat's currently ahead of one of the Ferraris. So Max Verstappen must have a car issue, and Hamilton there already on to back of Max Verstappen, and Buemi really has just showing us up in his first race of the season. We've seen last season we're pretty decent in the rain, but seems with this new car design and the lack of rear downforce we have on the back of our car, it just seems to be really not suiting our driving style so far in his first race. Now cutting a bit further on, now Lewis Hamilton is now caught onto the back now of Max Verstappen, and that is going to be AMG power versus Costa time. Still going to be strange saying this season with AMG when it's in a Toyota car, but That's the deal that Toyota made with Mercedes to keep using their power units for the season. But now Hamilton there trying to make a move back to Verstappen. Verstappen runs a bit wide there. Takes a bit of a compromise line, going really slowly there through turn 2. Now Hamilton gets really held down. We're going to go side by side now with Lewis Hamilton trying to move around the outside. Lewis Hamilton making the move still now, round the back now. Verstappen going to move up the inside of Max Verstappen as well. See it being side by side there with Max Verstappen. Verstappen trying to hold it up against him. No, he runs out a bit wide. Now he managed to make the move there on Max Verstappen. And Verstappen actually looks like he's going a bit slowly. So Verstappen definitely has some kind of car issue. So we see we're already pulling away there from the Dutchman. Now we are up into P7 and we've got Buemi there about 3 seconds in front of us, and we need to try and catch him now. Seeing Buemi did seem pretty even on pace, and just for the psychological advantage I'd like to get one over him in the first race of the season. They're cutting a bit further on, and they're looking back at the queue of cars that Max Verstappen is currently holding up. You see there, Hamilton's now got past him. Of course, the Dennis Kubica has now got past as well. Now we've got one of the Renaults of Hulkenberg now coming right onto the back now of the Red Bull. Max Verstappen once again locks up slightly going into turn 3. This is personal between the Red Bull and the Renault, which Red Bull terminated their contract with Renault for power units coming into this season, given the amount of engine failures and just general issues with the power units that Red Bull experienced last season. Of course, Renault really not supplying Red Bull with the worst engines as alive, but Verstappen runs off wide. Is he pulling over to the left? No, he's just crashing into one of the Torossos. That's definitely not what you want to do if you want to drive with the sister team, crashing there into the big thing. That's actually Carlos Sainz there, crashing into the back there of Max Verstappen. That's been imagining it's quite personal between these two as well, seeming Verstappen was outscored by Sainz last season, but got the drive for Red Bull. And once again, Verstappen just runs out wide. So has Verstappen got a brake issue? He must have some kind of braking issue. You know, Verstappen isn't this bad in the rain. Now Harry Hunter managed to make a movement. Now Verstappen's coming back now. Harry Hunter's going to keep his side by side with 3 sections just to avoid contact. They're going to keep his side by side. Verstappen's going to get right around the outside there of Harry Hunter. Fair play to there to Max Verstappen. He might have some kind of issue, but he's making a move right around the outside there of Harry Hunter. So a great move there from the Dutchman. Now we've got Carmen Jordan trying to make a move up the inside of Harry Hunter, coming up into the third section. Makes the move there up the inside of Carmen. Makes a move up the inside of Verstappen as well. Great move there from Carmen Jordan. It's almost like she's never been away from Formula 1. I mean, just coming back in 2017, driving a car is completely different to what she did in 2015 in the Lotus. And it makes you wonder why Renault didn't sign her for a race seat last season. But now, can Harry Hunter once again try and make a move on the back? Well, Max Verstappen, seeing the Cosworth power unit is still more powerful than the Mjorgen Honda in that McLaren. That's now Harry Hunter actually becoming a threat now from Lawrence Stroll. Now, no way McLaren can defend something with a BMW power unit in the back of it. Now Stroll trying to make a move up the inside there of Harry Hunter going to turn 1. He makes the move stick there on Harry Hunter, so now it's Stroll who's next in line to try and chase down Max Verstappen, to try and overtake him, because Verstappen there with braking issues. It's amazing that Verstappen hasn't actually managed to hit into the back of anyone yet. Cutting quite a bit further on it, all the way on to lap 10. Just been pretty much in no man's land really, just between Hamilton who got held up there by Verstappen. Now Buemi comes into the pit, so is Buemi doing a 2-stop in this race? Buemi has to be doing a 2-stop in this race. Now coming down the pit, Buemi going to another step into Surely. Indeed, he's going there onto another set of the intermediate tyres. But Buemi coming in on lap 10. There's surely no way that Buemi can do 19 laps on another set of intermediate tyres. So surely Buemi's doing a 2-stop in this race now. He's going to come out pretty much in no man's land, just in quite a way in front there. See the McLaren just coming down to the pit straight. That's how much they've lost, over a pit stop behind already, with Buemi doing a 2-stop. Now cutting all the way a bit further on now onto lap 14. We're now coming in for our one stop. We're coming in now for our 1 stop. And unless he drives out, this will be our 1 stop in the race. That's like Hamilton as well actually followed us onto this 1-stop strategy. Now we're coming into the pits now, and that's going to be Williams v Toyota. We know that Toyota bought out Force India, so I don't know how many of the old Force India staff that Toyota actually kept on this season. Making the first pit stop there for possibly a new crew. It's been pretty even between us, so we still get back out there in front there of Lewis Hamilton, and the gap looks to be pretty much the same as what it was coming to pit lane. So still a decent pit stop for the Toyota pit crew on possibly their return as well, depending on how many of the pit crew are the same or what was before. Look around to turn 1. Is Hamilton going to get from there with the Red Bulls and keep his side by side there with the Red Bull? He just managed to get out front there in front of that Red Bull. So who's that? Daniel Kvyat and made the first pit stop. No, actually Harry Anto's the first car behind, so that's Verstappen's a lap down now to me and Hamilton. He's actually going to get lapped by a McLaren Honda in the not too distant future, so nightmare start to the season for Max Verstappen. Of course, seeing Red Bull with how much promise they did have, despite having a Renault power unit, how good their cars, they really look to have dropped back quite significantly coming into this season. Now we are at P8 behind Sebastian Buemi, but if Buemi does have to stop again, And if we can keep the gap under 20 seconds, we should come out in front of him now. Looking a bit further on, taking a look at the running order, see there is still a Mercedes 1-2. We've got Jean-Eric Verne in third there on his debut race for Ferrari. And we've got Daniel Kvyat still holding on to a brilliant P4 in that Red Bull, still ahead there of Sebastian Vettel. We know that Ferrari has more straight line speed, but without DRS, it's just nothing that he can do to try and get past Daniel Kvyat. So he's been looking at the back of that Red Bull for the entirety of this race. Then we've got Sebastian Buemi in 5th, just in an absolute world of his own currently. Then there's ourselves there in 6th. It's still a pretty decent race so far, keeping ahead there of Hamilton, but still nowhere near our teammate of Buemi. Then Hamilton actually just does look to be falling away slightly from us now on this second into the race. And then we've got Hamilton's teammate Esteban Ocon in 2nd of the Toyotas. So both the Toyotas currently in the points, so used to be a decent return there for the Japanese team so far. Then we had the lead of the Hasses of Robbie Kubica. You know, we've got the two Toro Rossos coming up not too far behind him. I think with straight line speed, the Haas definitely has it, but of course, you know, the Americans don't really race in the wet, so maybe their car is designed more for working in the dry conditions. We've actually got Pierre Gasly there ahead of Carlos Sainz, so Sainz really just needs to put his foot down and really just try and get in front there of his teammate. Then we've got Nico Hülkenberg in the lead of the Renaults, a bit further behind, pretty much in a no-man land of his own as well. Then we have the second of the Hasses of Lawrence Stroll, so Stroll really not doing the best in this first race, really is being outshone by Robbie Kubica so far in this race. Then we have the second of the Renaults there of Daniel Ricciardo, who now has the brake issued Red Bull Max Verstappen behind him, so hopefully Verstappen doesn't lock up and completely smash into the back of Daniel Ricciardo coming into the braking zone. It's like Verstappen's actually managed to get around the corner there. And then we have the lead of the McLarens, which is still Carmen Jorda, that amazing move she pulled off earlier on Verstappen. And her teammate Ria Haryanto. Talking of Haryanto right back onto the back now of Carmen Jorda, so still pretty close between these two so far. And they're just pretty much in a battle of their own, and it's like they've left the Saubers for dead so far in this race. And then we do have one of the lead Sauber, which I still think is Adrian Sutil in the first race. Can't quite see from this camera, I'm going to look for the helmet there. That definitely is Adrian Sutil. And then we have Giovinazzi getting pretty close to his teammate on his debut race in Formula 1. And we have Max Verstappen at the back of the grid in 20th. And I'm cutting a bit further on there, all the way onto lap 18. And Pierre Gasly's out of the race, so commiserations there for the young Frenchman on his debut race for Toro Rosso. I mean, he was beating Carlos Sainz as well. Now looking at a replay of what happened, he just pulls off very aggressively there to the right hand side. So is that some kind of suspension issue? I think with how aggressively he pulled off to the right there, there must have been some kind of suspension issue that dragged the car over to the right. So whatever it was, unfortunately, Gasly's out of the race. Now going a bit further on, Buemi is now coming to the pits for another stop. So is he going on to dry tyres? It might be worth the risk. So he's doing a 2-stop, he's just going to lose time anyway. So what tyres is Buemi going on to? He's going to another set of intermediates. So why is Buemi doing a 2-stop in this race? Me and Hamilton should easily make this 1-stop away. I mean, the sun's even coming out there, so it might have actually been worse trying to switch on to the dry tyres there. It might have made more sense. So he's just going to do a 2-stop and lose a lot of time. Actually going to come out there behind Esteban Ocon, who's probably doing a 1-stop in this race. So Buemi there lost a lot of time and now has a lot of catching up to do. Now coming a bit further on, back onto us. Now we've got Sebastian Vettel right in front of us. He's just come out of the pits now for a while. Imagine it would be a second stop. Now can we try and make a move there on the 5-time world champion? It's just like that Ferrari's just got such better downforce and chassis than what we have. I mean, they had the better. You say they had the better downforce and chassis than us last season, but it's just so much more compared to what Williams have come up with for the start of this season. You see that just really flexing its muscles, and despite us having a straight line speed advantage over Sebastian Vettel and the Ferraris and everyone else on the grid, it's just no use when we can't catch up through the corners. And can be fair on looking at Ria Haryanto, they're going to Sev ultra soft tyres. So McLaren clearly think it's time for Sev dry tyres. I mean, imagine they're not making the same mistake as what they did last season of leaving Haryanto out on the inters when it was time for dry tyres. This time they're sending him out on dry tyres when it's possibly still time for inters still. So McLaren have gone either way, so you see if they get the strategy right this time. Now come out and we're going to be overtaken there, but one of the Saubers goes right around the outside there of Ria Haryanto. So imagine the Sauber actually stopped a lap before. Then we've got Lance Stroll as well. So Stroll, how does Stroll end up behind the Sauber anyway? No, he's going to make an easy move there around the inside of Ria Haryanto. Behind is going to try and hold it right around the outside. Fair play to the Indonesian. We're trying to keep it side by side with Stroll there with just so much more speed than the McLaren. So to get it right around the outside, and now I can try and chase down after the Sauber. They're going a bit further on now, all the way to lap 28 Now we've got one of the cars coming up behind us. Still got Kvyat. Kvyat's actually overtaken there, Lewis Hamilton. So Kvyat somehow ended up behind us. So Kvyat must have done a 2-stop in the race as well. Now actually got a Renault all over the back of us. This Renault's actually a lap down. Now she's going to pull those to inside and let them pass. But I think that Renault might be on the dry tyres as well. There's really no point in them holding us up and possibly causing an incident with how much faster that Renault can go. But now, letting that Renault through actually lost us a lot of time, a lot of momentum. Now we've got Daniel Kvyat trying to catch onto the back of us now. Going to the final lap, and now coming onto the final lap of the race, Daniel Kvyat's now pretty much got one opportunity with DRS now. Trying to make him see he's a lot closer to step one. That Red Bull has so much more speed through the corners with his superior chassis and aerodynamics over the wings, but now it's going to be Cosworth power with DRS versus just pure BMW power coming down into turn 3. It's like we've done just enough there to keep it ahead there of Daniel Kvyat, and really Kvyat's opportunities really are limited now as to where he can try and make an overtake on us. Coming up through the second sector now, if we can just keep it on the track there, we're getting very tentative there, get a bit sideways, a bit of oversteer. If we can just keep it on the track, we can hopefully use our straight line speed to our advantage to keep ahead of Daniel Kvyat. We see the boxing car right behind us, and Red Bull, we're getting so much better traction. And now Jean-Eric Vergne is coming onto the finish line, and Vergne is going to win the Australian Grand Prix on his debut race for Scuderia Ferrari, and also won this race in pretty much similar conditions to what he was last season. If you remember back to that race, that went into Sedgine, and much like us and everyone else in the top flight, all staying out there on the intermediate tyres. But now coming on around the final corner, move to the inside there, break the slipstream there to Daniel Kvyat, and coming up to the finish line. Do we go hold on to this P5 finish? Indeed we do. Just about hold on there to the P5 finish. But Williams definitely have a lot of work to do if we're to challenge Mercedes and Ferrari and even Red Bull for the rest of the season. There you can see Arriva Bene looking very happy there with Vergne driving. Why wouldn't he be, assuming he was a free agent from Red Bull? And there you can see Vergne taking his first victory for Scuderia, and we saw this from last season when they bring aero packages on the 2016 car. It looks like Ferrari really actually might be the team to beat on race pace for this season. Taking a look at the race results, and Jean-Eric Vergne would take victory on his debut for Ferrari, with Fernando Alonso in second, and Wehrlein on his debut for Mercedes running off the podium there in third. Both the Mercedes doing 2 stops in this race, and Vergne doing a 1-stop, so it really does look like the 1-stop was the way to go in this race. Sebastian Vettel comes home in fourth after also doing a 2-stop, 21 seconds off the lead and 11 seconds behind both of the Mercedes, so really not a good result there for the 5-time world champion. We'd come home in a very hard 4th-5th position there. We see there 52 seconds off the win, and me and Vergne both did 1 stop, so Williams definitely have a lot of work to do if we want to challenge the top flight and take a podium or victory in this season. Daniel Kvyat come home in 6th after also doing a 2-stop, so if Kvyat just did the 1 stop, then he definitely would have finished 4th in this race, but alas, finishing down in 6th just behind us, with Lewis Hamilton coming home in 7th there on Toyota's return to Formula 1, so a great result there for the Japanese team. Sebastian Buemi coming home in 8th after doing a 2-stop as well, over a minute off the lead, with Esteban Ocon finishing there in 9th, so very good result there for both the Toyotas on their return to F1. It's like their downforce heavy design really has paid off, especially in the wet at least. We're still yet to see how it works in the dry. Nico Hulkenberg comes home in 10th there for Renault, and with Robbie Kubica in 11th, 1 lap down, and Carmen Jorda from McLaren takes what could be a very valuable point there for the team in 12th, so great drive there from Carmen Jorda on her return to Formula 1. Carlos Sainz only managed 13th, also 1 lap down, with Adrian Sutter only 14th in the Sauber still. Great result there for Sauber as well. Adrian Sutter managing 14th, but still that point that Jordan scored could be crucial come the end of the season. Lance Stroll could only manage 15th in the end, with Rui Harianto all the way down in 16th. Daniel Ricciardo down in 17th, with Verstappen in 18th, and 3 laps down. So a nightmare race there for Max Verstappen on his debut for Red Bull. Giovinazzi comes home in 19th, unfortunately DNF in the race as well. In the end, with Pierre Gasly in 20th, rounding off the grid with that what looked to be a suspension failure about the midway point of the race. Moving on to the driver standings, and of course it's the first race, the points will be exactly the same, so having a quick look at this, so we've got Vergne in the lead on 20 points. Alonso in second on 15, Verline third on 12, then Vettel in fourth, Weir in fifth, Kvyat in sixth, Hamilton 7th, Buemi in 8th, Ocon 9th, Hulkenberg 10th, Kubica in 11th, and Calum and Jordan running off the top 12 as the point scorers. Then Sainz, Sutil, Stroll, Ariante, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Giovinazzi and Gasly all yet to score. Now moving on to the constructor standings, and Ferrari have a 3-point lead over Mercedes on 30 points to Mercedes 27, with Williams in third on 13 points, already 17 points off the lead that Ferrari already have after one race. And Toyota are in fourth on 10 points, so pretty much proving how much of a great start to the season Toyota have had, and they're actually ahead of Red Bull thanks to Verstappen's nightmare race. Renault are in 6th on 3 points, with Haas in 7th on 2, and McLaren round off the point scorers in 8th on 1 point, with Toro Rosso and Sauber both yet to score. My driver of the day for this race? I'd have to say, honestly, either Verne for doing the one stop, which is what he needs to do, and winning the race on his debut for the Scuderia, or definitely Carmen Jorda. But definitely one of those two. I'd have to say Carmen Jorda, if I'm honest. I mean, that McLaren is just so, honestly, so slow. And also, switching to the tyres, beating a Renault, a Haas, which is one of the fastest in a straight line, to get a very valuable point there for McLaren. So, yeah, I'd have to say Carmen Jorda for my driver of the day. So that's been the Australian Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all next time.